What is a community, an identity, a culture, and how does the Caribbean take center stage in Toronto? Hello everyone, my name is Rajan and I'm representing Group 9. Our project brings multiple people from different countries in the Caribbean to share their experiences in Toronto. Toronto's Caribbean Diaspora is one of the city's largest and most influential immigrant communities, reflecting deep historical roots and traditions that have had major impact on Toronto culture. As most of us may know, the Caribbean is located in the middle of the Americas, and it consists of mostly nations that are on the islands, like Cuba, the Bahamas, and Puerto Rico. Our focus is on the influence of Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Guyana, and the Dominican Republic in Toronto, and going into a deep dive into their cuisines, music, community events, and even cultural icons. Before we can get started on any deep analysis, it's best we cover the general history of Caribbean diaspora in Toronto to get a better picture of the layout of the community. When the Commonwealth Immigrant Act was finished in the 1960s, that propelled former colony nationals to go and live in the United Kingdom. On top of Canada's immigration policy getting changes in the mid to late 60s, this caused a lot of immigrants to make their way to Canada. As of 2021, close to 315,000 Caribbeans have been living in Toronto. The Greater Toronto Area, also known as the GTA, is a preferred Canadian destination for settlement of immigrants from the Caribbean and is the birthplace of a growing population. Immigrants from the Caribbean are spread across the GTA and aren't necessarily placed in one city or area. Toronto also hosts major events and landmarks for the Caribbean community. For example, the Toronto Caribbean Festival, also known as Caribana, Afro-Carib Fest, and of course, the vibrant neighborhood on Eglinton Avenue West, Little Jamaica, where the community's culture shines through parades, music, food, and small family-owned businesses. While the Caribbean has such a big presence in Toronto, we believe there is potential for over-glamorization and stereotypes that can be created that hurt the authenticity of the culture and identity of anyone from the Caribbean. Now let's go ahead and take a look to see what some of our interviewees have had to say.
Hi, my name's Lawrence and I'm from Trinidad.
My name's Jared Allen, and I'm Jamaican, also half British.
My name's Amaryllis. I am half Dominican, half Guyanese.
So my family passes down cultural heritage and customs through a lot of storytelling. My grandma used to tell us stories before we went to bed of different things that they used to do back in Trinidad and different, cultures and different things that we used to do a lot, particularly with events and different cultural events. We have juves, which are parties. It's a French word for parties because Trinidad was colonized by the French a lot. But juves in particular, we throw powder, colorful powder. It's a celebration of life.
Something that's really important to my family is food, because we've moved around so much that my mom's kind of kept our culture through food. She's even learned how to cook Guyanese food. So food is really important when it comes to our cultural preservation.
We obviously cook a lot during holidays. Christmas is a big thing. Thanksgiving isn't really much of a thing in Jamaica.
I feel like my Guyanese side, they kind of assimilated a lot and kind of lost a lot of the culture. Again, the one thing that stayed consistent was the food. When we eat food, for example, we eat pepper pot on Christmas and garlic pork and stuff, but on Christmas, and I feel that's the tradition.
I think Drake is that biggest connection in terms of that. How you take certain words of patois, which is a Creole language that Jamaicans speak, which is an English, it's broken English basically. So in Toronto in general, you hear a lot of patois, but it's not with a typical Jamaican accent.
Historically, I think there's a lot that needs to be learned. I feel in Canada and Toronto specifically, Caribbean culture, specifically Trinidadian culture, there's not much depth in it. There's Caribana and that's kind of it. There's not much of when it comes to like historical and cultural practices and other types of things. So I feel like there's definitely room for improvement.
But I feel like in North America, it's more so like every man for themselves, and like you have to make your living separate from your community, if that makes sense. Like I guess there's like a difference in community. Like in the Caribbean, I feel like there's more Caribbean people more of a community. People are more willing to work together, whereas here, like it's like every man for themselves.
I think in Toronto, it can be correctly represented in some things, but I think it's mainly like first generation or people who have actually like lived in Jamaica who have moved to Toronto that represent it the best compared to other people.
A lot of people are like, oh, like they experience the music together, right? And that's kind of what you're supposed to do. Like Caribbean people experience things together, and like when it comes to music, like it's not just like, oh, we're singing and dancing. It's like we're singing and dancing together, like we're experiencing this together. Whereas like I feel like here, like that kind of doesn't apply. Like we're singing and dancing together, and then it's over after that.
So for Trinidadians, I think that the culture is represented pretty well. Every year we have Caravana, or the Caribbean Carnival. It does a pretty good job. Like the one this year was pretty well done in terms of like showing off our cultural heritage through, you know, dancing and music and different events and stuff around the city.
Well, I think you can say mainstream media has an effect on any community. Doesn't matter whether it's Caribbean or not. I mean, people look at the Caribbean as like a tourist spot, or Jamaica specifically as a tourist spot. No one really looks at Jamaica as like a place that people just typically just live like normal people do. They always see the videos on TikTok or like the concerts, who's from there, this and that. So I think social media or media in general can misrepresent it.
I think that the mainstream media kind of portrays Caribbean people as, from what I've seen, a lot of the time it's pretty negative. I feel like sometimes we see Caribbean people only as a whole, only categorized as just Jamaicans, because I feel like Jamaica is the most popular Caribbean country. And so anything that comes along with Jamaicans, I feel a lot of the time has a negative stereotype, because a lot of the predominant race in Jamaica is Black people, so they kind of denote a lot of the things that Caribbean people do to specifically Jamaicans and African Jamaican people.
In general, I see a lot of, I guess on TikTok, there's a lot of like first and second generation Caribbean people like just talking on their experience growing up with an immigrant parent or immigrant grandparent, and kind of just like showing a shared experience that like all newer generations of like Caribbean immigrants have had together.
In the next decade, I'd love to see the Caribbean community expand and have more visibility in Toronto. I feel like the Caribbean community is a very niche kind of group, and there's not much coverage in terms of anything outside of just Caravana in the summertime. And I feel like it's, you know, Caribbean culture doesn't just stop after one day. I feel like it's an all year round time thing, and it's worth that. So I feel like more visibility, more events, more, you know, time for Caribbean people to express themselves and express their experiences. I feel like that would be great to see in the next decade.
I feel like it would be nice to see more like awareness throughout different cultures of each culture. So like Caribbean and also like other cultures. Just because I feel like right now in Toronto it's very separated. Like there's like everybody has their own culture around them, and they're very, I don't want to say they're not culturally aware, because I feel like Toronto's very diverse, but I feel like when it comes to like when it comes down to the like personal level, like just talking to somebody from another culture, like I feel like there could be more cultural awareness.
One thing is I just hope people would take people's cultures more seriously, in the sense where sometimes it feels like people hear you're Jamaican, or you tell someone you're Jamaican, and then they start mocking it a bit. So I wouldn't want it to change, but one change is like people just being more accepting of the mixture of cultures, because I think it's a pretty good thing to have in a city, especially Toronto. I think it connects us in a different way.
As we end this project, we want to thank our interviewees for sharing their stories with us. Through their experiences, we see the pride, resilience, and creativity that continue to shape Caribbean life in Toronto. Whether through family traditions, community support, or even just through food and music, these voices remind us why telling these stories matter. Celebrating Caribbean voices not only preserves identity, but it also helps to build a better understanding and inclusive future for our city.